Hello beautiful people, how's it going? I'm back with another video, and this video is going to be completely unfiltered and unedited. I wanted to give you guys my honest spoiler review of The Flash. Now I wanted to say first off, it's a Sunday. I went to see the movie again with my father. This is 11 days after the premiere, and honestly, in my opinion, this movie is just as good as I watched it the first time. Now, unfortunately, my audience reaction the second time, even though I saw it in an IMAX screening on a Sunday, there wasn't a lot of audience interaction, including the comedy aspects of the film, which I did kind of feel detracted from my experience because I felt like at times I was the only one laughing, and it made me feel really awkward. Also, my dad watched it with me, and he felt that the movie was average at best. It wasn't excellent, but also it wasn't bad. Now, unfortunately, the movie is not performing well at the box office, which is really unfortunate because I do think that this is one of the strongest DC movies that they've done so far. Well, DCEU, because DC movies includes the Batman and the Joker, which are both cinematic masterpiece, and the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, which I still believe is the greatest superhero trilogy of all time, and possibly the best trilogy of all time. I know I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, and I tried to become a Lord of the Rings fan, and I think they're great movies, but it's just not my cup of tea. So in my non-spoiler review, I commended Ezra Miller, I commended Sasha Calle, I commended Michael Keaton. All of their performances were absolutely great. And so in this video, I want to talk about things about the movie that I loved that are considered spoilers that I can't speak about. And I guess the biggest example of why I think this movie is so clever is a minor spoiler that I want to speak about first, and that is the reference to Back to the Future. So to give you guys some context, my person bought me a behind-the-scenes book on the history of Back to the Future, which I'm really grateful for, by the way, so thank you so much, because I was a huge fan of Back to the Future ever since I reacted to them on my channel. So I found out in that book that Eric Stoltz, who is an actor from the 80s, who I've apparently never heard of, played Marty McFly in the first couple of months of Back to the Future. But then he was recast, I'm not sure why, and that role went to Michael J. Fox. And so in the movie, when the Flash goes back in time and meets his alternate universe self, he realizes that in this universe, Eric Stoltz plays Marty McFly. And I thought that was just so clever, because not only do they reference the original time travel movie, which, again, they do in Avengers Endgame, but they don't do nearly as clever as they do here, because here it forwards the plot. It enhances the story. It progresses the characters. I thought it was absolutely genius. I thought it was so clever, and that is just in a nutshell why I love this film, because it felt so clever to me. The whole idea that the Flash can go back in time because he can travel faster than the speed of light, that's a genius concept in and of itself. And then him realizing that, well, all I need to do is put a can of tomato sauce into my mom's basket while she's shopping for groceries, because the idea is, because she forgets the tomato sauce, she asks her husband to go get the tomato sauce, and then someone breaks into the house and murders her. That was, again, another very interesting concept. And when he does that, he creates a whole other timeline that Michael Keaton explains is not like this, it's like this. You impact both the present and the future and the past. And I thought that was really brilliant. Not to mention just the cleverness of the time travel concept that I felt was done really well. There's also amazing banter between Barry Allen and Barry Allen, because the new Flash that is much younger from the other universe has not gained his power yet. And Warner Brothers did such a clever tactic to essentially tell us how Barry got his powers and give us the origin story in his first film, because, they rushed to do the Justice League, so we didn't get an origin movie for the Flash or Cyborg, even though Zack Snyder's Justice League is a really good origin if you think about it. And so they do that in such a clever way that really is amazing, because you get to experience a Flash story and a Batman story and a Supergirl story while also going back in time, so that audiences can actually have an origin story for this Barry Allen. And so when he gets struck by lightning, Unfortunately, our Barry gets struck too, and he loses his powers. So now there's another arc that you have to solve about how is Barry going to get his powers back. It's just so cool. And that's even before they run into Michael Keaton's Batman, who, you know, isn't doing Batman anymore because he says Gotham is really safe now, which I guess is so interesting to think about, because if Gotham was always a safe place, then Bruce Wayne wouldn't need to be Batman. And that was just a concept that I thought was really cool. Not to mention, and I'm so glad I get to speak about this, I reacted to the Batman 89 and 93 movies on my channel, and I like them, but I didn't love them because I do feel like they are strictly products of their time. I really do feel that way. So to make Michael Keaton's Batman, Michael Keaton, love the guy, but he's gotten older. To make him this cool, that was just unbelievable to me. He was so sick. I mean, entirely. That scene when they were in Russia and Batman was doing all of these flips and tricks, it was one of the coolest Batman sequences I've ever seen. It totally outshined the action sequences in The Batman, personally for me. This was a bit more of my style, even though The Batman was my favorite movie of 2022. It was just absolutely beautiful to see. And I will backtrack because I am all over the place, and I know this is really unprofessional, and I'm really sorry, but that opening scene with Ben Affleck, chef's kiss. That was absolutely brilliant, brilliant Batman content. And I'm wearing my Batman shirt today because I love Batman so much. He's been my favorite superhero ever since I reacted to those films. And I developed such a deep connection to him that I'm really grateful for, because I just love the guy. I love the idea of Bruce Wayne. And it actually is really beautiful how Barry was telling Ben Affleck's Batman that, hey, listen, I can do this. I can go back in time. I can save my mom, and I can save your parents too. And Ben Affleck's Batman says, these scars are what make us who we are. We're not supposed to erase them. We're supposed to let them mold us. We're supposed to let them allow us to grow. And that was Barry's entire arc, learning that he has to essentially let his mom go, which I'll speak about later. Which then relates to them going to Russia and finding Kara. Now, I'm sorry, but I have to say it. I didn't love Man of Steel. I didn't grow up with Superman. I never really cared about Clark Kent or Superman. I just don't know. It just didn't work for me. Kara worked, and she really worked. I loved Sasha Calle in the role, and I just feel like the character was interesting to me, which was something that I never really felt about any Superman-related content. Also, I wasn't a fan of Batman v Superman. I'm just going to tell you guys now. It was very average to me. I haven't seen the Ultimate Edition. I would want to, but I'm just telling you guys, I was not a fan of Batman v Superman when it initially came out. I just didn't really care. But anyways, back to the movie. Where have we reached? Right, the whole thing with Zod, I didn't really care. I'm going to be honest. But what I loved about that was the idea that Sasha Calle's Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman die in this timeline. And that was just mind-boggling to me. I couldn't believe that Warner Brothers had the courage, and Andy Muschietti had the courage to do this. Because, wow, you take a childhood hero and you kill him off by the end, that's some legendary content to me. Not that I wanted Michael Keaton to die, but it made me respect the film more, because it made me feel like, man, this movie, there are consequences to actions. There are stakes in this, which, by the way, I loved Spider-Man No Way Home. I loved it so much. I'm literally collecting the Funko Pop set of all of the 8 characters in the final battle at the Statue of Liberty. I love that film. But why did Tobey Maguire get stabbed at the end? It was a death fake out, right? Yeah, because that's what the MCU does. Fake outs until Guardians 3, which is why I respected that movie so much. You guys know I hate fake outs so badly. It really gets me, really annoys me. So seeing Michael Keaton die and seeing younger Barry try over and over and over again to save him, going back in time in a constant loop, which then forces him to become this old, beaten up, disheveled version of himself that has been constantly in a loop. And that's what has our Barry realize that, hey, this isn't going to work. I need to stop this. And now that I think about it, I think my mom has to die. I have to let her go. And that's his character arc is just so wonderful. Not to mention them constantly going back in time and Barry telling other Barry, come on, Barbie. And the other Barry says, let's go party. That joke, both times in theaters, just had my audience rolling in laughter. And I think it works really well. And I don't even get it. I just thought it was hilarious. It was clearly a Warner Brothers plug for a movie that they're releasing literally a month after this one. It's just so wonderful. And that entire ending scene where Barry goes back to the event where he put the can of tomatoes in his mom's basket. Why did I stutter both times to find the word basket? And it's not even a basket, it's a shopping cart. I am so dumb. Anyways, so he goes back over there and he removes it once more. But this time, he puts on some glasses, he puts on a hat, and he speaks to his mother, who at that point has never seen older Barry. So yeah, it's a bit of a suspension of disbelief that you have to make, but still plausible. And he has a conversation with her and he tells her, I love you more, I loved you first. And I cried both times. Because really, this movie's emotions really, really hit. They really hit. I've been so lucky and so fortunate to never have dealt with the loss of a person. And I just really, really, really think that's it's hard. And I've never dealt with it, but I can only imagine. And, I can't even imagine because, how do you explain something like that? How do you explain the feeling of losing someone? And that's essentially what makes Barry a hero in this movie, is that he sacrifices what he wants for what's right. That is such a character moment for him that completes his arc. And he says goodbye to his mother, and he puts the tomato sauce out of the shopping cart. And he just moves on. But before he does that, he takes a look at the camera footage, which he essentially tried to watch over in the beginning of the film because his dad went to jail for his mom's murder, which he didn't do, and the security footage at the supermarket didn't show his face. So what Barry does is puts the can at the top so that Barry's dad can look up, grab it, and the camera footage can catch his face. And I just thought that was absolutely genius. My dad also thought that was really clever, and yeah, it's just really good writing to me. I don't know. And so he goes back to the present after Reverse Flash gets killed by second Barry and main Barry is back home. He goes to court, he goes to his father's hearing, and his father is set free. And everything is happy, but because he once again played with the timeline by putting the tomatoes up there instead of where they were, oh my goodness, you guys, George Clooney. I never reacted to that film. I didn't even watch it because you guys, the Batman fans who are watching my reactions, told me to never watch it because it was so bad. So I had the understanding that George Clooney's Batman is so hated. So when I saw George Clooney's Batman appear, it was the funniest joke that I've ever seen in a superhero movie. The Flash messed everything up so badly that he brought back the worst Batman in existence. And I applaud George Clooney for being a part of this joke. I love that George Clooney can laugh at himself. I just honestly respect it so much. And this movie is still a 10 out of 10 for me. I know that a lot of people had a lot of problems with the CGI, but in my humble opinion, I just didn't think it was that big a deal. However, my dad did say that when he's running in this giant thing that looks like a hamster ball, it looks like a hamster ball. And my dad also didn't like how the Flash's running was utilized in this film. The CGI and visual effects on that, it was not for him. And I respect that because my dad actually grew up reading Flash comics. Those were the only ones he ever read. I should really get into comics, by the way. But anyways, those are the only ones that he ever read. And so he is somewhat connected to the Flash, and he has expectations for the Flash. So he felt the movie could be much better. But honestly, out of all the superhero movies that we've gotten this year, we've gotten bangers. And I do think that the Flash is one of them. I'm so sad that it's not performing well so far. I can hope and pray because I love seeing good things succeed, and I would like this movie to succeed, just like I would like Elemental, review tomorrow, to succeed. But both are flopping, and it's making me really sad. But anyways, if you guys have watched this movie and you like it, maybe consider going again. I don't know if you would like to. I don't know. It's a shame to see a really good movie not be a financial success. And it gives Warner Brothers the wrong idea. Don't get me wrong, I trust James Gunn so much. I love the guy, really. But this was really good content. If we get similar stuff moving forward with this quality of writing, I just would be really, really pleased. I think it's really great. And I really love you guys if you guys sat with me through this, because I was rambling. And I really appreciate that I have an audience that I can ramble to. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time for more content. Well, actually, yeah, tomorrow for the Elemental review, because that movie really touched my heart. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys. I lagged on the bye, guys. What's going on with me today?